championship so close you can taste it.
Oliver Askew has won the Freedom 100.
Side by side. And your new champion, Christian Rasmussen.
Road to Indy drivers, start your engines.
And with that, engines come to life. Jake and Alex, well done. We're getting ready to go racing. Back to the booth, folks. Indy Pro 2000.
Thank you, Rob and Greg. Same song, different verse, same pole sitter for both races.
Yep, they have backed it up again here. Manuel Suleiman comes in here 6th in the points. This is his first pole. He backed it up with the second pole. That's 2. Best finish, though, 2nd at St. Pete. So this is where he'd like to break that little jinx and get to the front here. And as you run through that grid, Rob took you through it, but as we saw it again, same song, second verse, if you will. Points leader, qualifying outside of the top 5, in this case, Christian Rasmussen, back in the 6th spot. So like we saw from Sundaramurthy in the USF 2000 race, points leader has work to do here.
Well, not only that, but I think obviously your points leader maybe kind of got caught out a little bit with the tire strategy during that qualifying session. Obviously, in that situation, later in the session, doing 1 lap, 2 laps in, make an adjustment, they may have just missed out on the air pressures. I expect Christian Rasmussen to be much quicker on pace here in the race.
I do too, and we've talked about it. His car control is immense, and this is a track where if you got that control, you can float that little bit extra speed through some of these corners. It's going to pay big dividends. Another big story: Braden Eves, 2nd in the points, back in 9th. Obviously, a bit of concern there as well. And Reese Gold, continuing his form, qualifies outside of row 2, comes in here 2nd in the points for that young man. A big opportunity for him as well.
Well, you look at someone else that we're kind of going to be keyed on to watch is starting 10th, Hunter McElray. Struggled quite a bit last year here in the doubleheader weekend at Road America, but was kind of on the struggle bus most of the weekend. But in that Q2 earlier today, they found some pace. So I expect that car to be adjusted a little bit. I would expect him to move up through the field as well, and he'll be right on the gearbox of Braden Eves as well.
Yeah, no question about it. And Braden Eves, 2 wins this year, but another big thing for him is 5 top 5s. I mean, 7 top 5s, 5 podiums. That's how you accrue points. If you can't get the win, he gets them when he can. When he can, he makes sure he scores points. That's big.
Yeah, absolutely. And, field now collected behind the safety car here in the racetrack. Obviously, track temperatures are going to be a little bit higher now. We've had sun baking on this racetrack for a little bit more than we had earlier this morning. We had the cloud cover very early in the day today. And now we're going to see a little bit different race pace, I think, with a little bit warmer temperature. Field now getting into the Hurry Downs area, and they'll collect the field as soon as they get to the bottom half of the racetrack. We'll go 2 by 2 and get this race underway in just a few moments, Greg. But in this particular race, Indy Pro 2000, we've saw a little bit different kind of a qualifying aspect for race 2, obviously, than we did in race 1 on Friday afternoon for qualifying. Again, that was round 1 qualifying was really 1 or 2 hot laps and in, 1 or 2 hot laps and in. This morning's qualifying session was 3 or 4 laps. You were kind of banking speed in that particular situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you had to find it when you were ready to go. And I'll tell you, I don't know why, but every once in a while you just get a gut feeling about something. And I think Artem Petrov is somebody to maybe keep an eye on in this one as well. So field working its way now through the kink, heading down into Canada Corner. Rob is back in the booth, and I think this one is going to be just a superb run.
Yeah, I agree. This is going to be a tremendous battle. Looking forward to it. Plus, before we go going, let's bring in our driver analyst joining us for this particular show as well. Devlin DeFrancesco, for the driver for Indy Lights in the Andretti Steinbrenner Autosport crew. You were good here last year, pretty quick. Finished 2nd last year in Indy Pro. We'll come to you in a couple seconds. Stay right there with us because we're getting ready to go starting here. We'll bring Devlin in a bit. He's going to give us some insight. Of course, Devlin running Indy Lights this afternoon and tomorrow. Drivers coming out of Canada Corner as we get set to go racing. Manuel Suleiman for Juncos Racing, pole for both days. Can he do what Kiko Porter did and turn that pole position into a race win? He's trying to get himself back in the championship fight as well. Manuel Suleiman rolling out here onto the straightaway, getting ready to punch things off. Again, Suleiman on the inside. Artem Petrov, winner here last year on the outside. And nice and slow. Didn't punch off early at all. He's going to try to get him nice and slow up the line. Check out this start. Formation perfect. Petrov for Exclusive Autosport on the outside. Suleiman for Juncos Racing on the inside. Ready to fire things up. Nice and slow. Coming up to the top of the hill. We're looking for it. Everyone in position. He is going really deep into the starting zone. Getting ready to punch off. Look at this slow start. And indeed, green, green, green. And a great jump for Suleiman. But always tough coming down into turn number 1. Jacob Abel slotting right in behind Artem Petrov as well. First, second, and third in line. But here we go. Now they start to fan out. Petrov thinking about trying the outside. Tucks back in. Abel into the third position. Clean and green through turn number 1. They'll get themselves down through turn 2 here, down to the bottom of the hill, turn number 3. And again, early lead right now for Suleiman. Everybody else slotting into position, coming out for the first big run down the straightaway under the Sargento Cheese Bridge and all the way down to turn number 5. That hard braking corner. Turn 5, left-hander back up the hill to 6. Couple of drivers slow further back. Someone's got front wing damage. That, I think, that looked like potentially one of the Juncos cars. Or was that Braden Eves? That might have been the Exclusive Autosport driver with wing damage. We'll see as they come back through. There's Eves there. Greg,
That's
what do you think?
massive. Second in the points if that was him. Exactly what he didn't need, obviously, here. And I think on that start, I think Petrov may have been a little bit more aggressive around the outside as we are now full course caution around the outside of Suleiman. But he looked in his mirrors and saw Jacob Abel coming flying up the inside and went, yeah, I'm going to tuck right back in again.
That's exactly that, yeah. As the drivers now come to a slow pace around the racetrack, full course yellow. We'll try to figure out exactly what happened there. And again, Devlin DeFrancesco's with us here once we get a chance to look at the replay. Devlin, come on in here. We got some time. First off, we got a yellow. Thanks for being up here with us,
Hi,
man.
Rob. Thanks for having me.
How's your weekend going so far?
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
Really tight qualifying this morning.
Yeah.
Nice to be back up there. A shootout at the end, obviously. Daniel Frost did a great job. But yeah, all eyes forward to the race.
Always nice when your Indy teammates are doing well, right? Either it's you or whoever, because you're able to get that data and transition it and pour over it for the race this afternoon. What do you think? It's 20 laps, right? And you guys haven't gone 20 laps here yet this weekend, I don't think, have you, in total?
No, not in a single run.
Yeah.
I think tire degradation will be a key factor, especially in the Indy Pro race as well as memories from last year. I think it's going to be an exciting race.
Let's have a look, see if we do get a replay potentially. I don't think they've called one in for us yet, but indeed an issue early on, trying to figure out which driver. So indeed, not able to get, I think, anything for us here in terms of a replay. Looks like one more lap to go. They're getting things cleaned up a little bit here. We'll have a look at the order as they run on the racetrack when they come back around here. And again, Manuel Suleiman getting a good jump there. Waited very, very late into the start zone. Let's talk about that, Devlin. What's the strategy play there? Is that something you think about doing, trying to go late? And you can go late, you can go, if you punch off early, it's nice. But this front straightaway is so long, I don't know that you want to do that.
Exactly. The front straightaway is so long. I think Manuel timed the start perfectly. I think Petrov did the smart thing by tucking in and Abel slotting into third. I think it's a really tight battle here in Indy Pro 2000 this year. I think it's going to be a really exciting race. I think there could be at least 4 to 5 guys who could win it.
It's very similar, I think, to Indy Lights. We have such a deep field in both those categories. Now, here you are in your first year of Indy Lights, and, man, the amount of guys we have in there, it's hard to get a race win in that series.
The depth is really high. You know, if you make a little mistake, you can find yourself P5, P6 rather than on the front row.
I asked you this yesterday at the Cooper Tire stage when we had a Q&A. What's the difference between the Indy Pro 2000 car and the Indy Lights car here? I got to think the top speed at the end of these straightaways is killer.
Yeah, no, for sure. The top speed is definitely much higher. You know, as I said yesterday, some corners that weren't corners in Indy Pro 2000 have become corners in Indy Lights. You know, the speed, the downforce is much higher. So both cars really enjoyable to drive around Road America.
I love it. So now we're on to the second lap here, Greg. We still haven't really got an update yet.
I think Christian Rasmussen was one of those cars involved because he has not yet crossed start-finish.
Yeah, Jack William Miller, Christian Rasmussen, Kiffin Simpson, Wyatt Prokachik. I'm not seeing on live timing yet.
So it must have been. You could see if you looked on this shot right down right at the exit, you could see a couple of cars are off driver's left, or our left, driver's right. They're just sitting there, and I think you can see one of the AMR rescue team's lights flashing down there. So I think there's a multiple car issue at the exit at 3.
There you have it, and that is, again, and you brought it up, there is your championship leader as well. Christian Rasmussen involved in that, and that is tough for him. The driver who scored the win in the Freedom 90 at the Oval at Lucas Oil Raceway now finds himself at the intent. Well, I don't know what points he would get. I guess he's going to set up in 10th, depending on where he qualified. Very interesting start to this race. Let's talk about starts, Devlin, because it's crucial here. I almost think sometimes people get too anxious here because there's so many places to pass at Road America, but the opening lap is the best place to move forward, right?
For sure. That's the time when everyone's bunched up, and if you've done your tire prep well enough and you got the Cooper tires in well enough, it's going to make a big difference, and it's going to really pay dividends.
Going deeper into that, is that something you have to do on the warm-up lap? Is there a strategy to warming the tires up on those opening lap?
Of course. We're bringing the Cooper tires in is extremely important. Here, it's a one-time buy. It's a 4.5 mile lap, so it shouldn't be a huge issue, but for sure, having that bit of extra tire temp will definitely pay dividends into those first 2 brake zones.
In setting up for the race here, obviously things are a little different in qualifying, but do you tend to favor starting with a little lower tire pressure so that the car and the tire might be a little bit better later in the race, or do you want to take with that opportunity at the start, you want to start with a little higher pressure and try and gain some spots right away?
I'd say it's a bit of an unknown for us. We've never raced in these hot temperatures before in Road America, so I leave that to my engineer, Mark Bryant, and
guys get paid to do it, right?
I get on with it. So yeah, I let him get on with it.
You just execute.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll take the opportunity to say hello to those of you tuning in on the Road to Indy TV app or on the Road to Indy YouTube channel. My name is Rob Howden, joined by Greg Creamer, and our driver analyst here today is Devlin DeFrancesco, who will go racing this afternoon in Indy Lights at 3:05 scheduled start time. Devlin finished second last year in the Indy Pro 2000 Championship. Really likes this racetrack. And I know I made the mistake. I'll call myself out. I made the mistake in the Q&A. I was in the middle of an interview, and I was talking like Devlin had won the race, and I feel bad because he literally got nipped at the line in a photo finish. But this is a track that you've been good at. You were strong here last year. You're fast. Is it one of your favorites on the circuit?
This is definitely one of my favorites. It's very high speed, not very forgiving if you make a mistake.
That's true.
But definitely one of my favorite tracks on the calendar.
I love it. Now, you've done some racing in Europe as well. Is there a track maybe you could say, hey, it's similar to this particular track in Europe?
I'd say if I had to pick one, I would say Spa.
Yeah,
just no runoff.
Yeah, just with no runoff.
Just with no runoff and concrete walls.
That's Americanized racing for you, right? You can't make mistakes. It's almost like St. Petersburg in terms of having walls pretty close.
For sure.
That's high praise indeed, isn't it?
It is.
When you say it's like Spa.
Yeah.
And it is. I mean, it's such a remarkable run long up through the forest here on the Kettle Moraine. And I'd like, real quick, while we have this little pause here, just want to say thanks to all the volunteers that are coming out here. I mean, there's so many different specialties that need to be staffed. And, of course, for me, always a big personal shout-out to all my peeps on the corners. I want to say hi to those people out in harm's way, out in the elements, providing information to you drivers. Just crucial, and just a big thanks to all the volunteers.
I 100% agree with you for sure on that. So, okay, let's have a look at this lineup here right now. And again, kind of caught us off guard. We're not able to see with the cameras that we have the incident on track. It looks like Jack William Miller, Christian Rasmussen, Kiffin Simpson, and Wyatt Prokopchik all involved. That's 4 drivers out of this race, leaving 8 on the racetrack. Manuel Suleiman with the lead right now. Artem Petrov in second, Jacob Abel third, Reese Gold in fourth, James Rowe fifth, Hunter McElray sixth, Braden Eves in seventh, and Hunter Yaney in eighth. Pretty crazy start. Greg, you coming back in with some info?
Yeah, I just took a really close look at one of the security cameras here, and we've got, it looks like a couple of cars, drivers right exited 3 and a couple drivers left exited 3, and that would account for the 4 that have gone absent here. And they're rolling a number of flatbeds and EV equipment here to get those cars moved. So you got to think exiting 3, somebody took a run, went down the inside, wheels interlocked, and we just had a couple of incidents on either side of the track.
Yeah, it's a junkyard right now.
Yeah, it is.
They've literally brought the flatbed in too, so there's a car that's not going to be able to get towed back. So they're doing the best thing they can to get these drivers cleared away. As I said, a 15-lapper. Let me quickly look. It's 15 laps or 50 minutes. So we'll see what kind of green flag racing we get here. And again, the AMR safety crew, absolute best in the business, getting out there. And even though all the crews here at Road America do a great job getting things cleared up. Devlin, I bet you didn't think you'd have to do this much work at the start. You know, we were going to come back to in the middle of some races here. We worked you pretty hard here. Let me ask you this question, and I know that you and your team very quick. What is the key to a fast lap here? Where is there certain segments of the racetrack you really have to nail to get a fast lap?
Of course, I think it's quite a lot about rhythm, but also you just need to really grab it by the scruff of the neck and send it, especially in the lights car, I think.
What's it like going through the carousel? That's the one corner I can just imagine going through the carousel. Are you flat out through the kink too?
Through the kink, yes. Through the carousel, no.
No, definitely not the carousel, right? What's the car feel like there? Is it intrinsically with the off camber? Is there an oversteer all the time, or do you is the second half a bit of a push through that corner?
I mean, the Andretti Steinbrenner car has been really good through there. I don't know about the others.
That company line, well done. Good for you.
Well, there's that little midway through that carousel. There's that little where the road crowns just a little bit and drops, and you see some pretty fast hands are necessary there.
Yes, no, it's definitely moving around a fair bit through there, but one of my favorite corners on the racetrack.
Yeah,
I'm just getting a little information here from a man, Nick Yeoman from IndyCar Radio. He's got some guys that down in turn 3 saying that somebody went flipping about 20 feet in the air in that wreck. So it sounds like we had a pretty nasty wreck down there. Of course, we didn't see it, not where one of our videos are. The availability here for these Indy Pro 2000 races. We'll get full video, of course, for Indy Lights as it's on NBC Sports on Peacock. But man, it sounds like it was a pretty gnarly incident.
Yeah, obviously, and it took the points leader involved. And for Rasmussen, this has got to be just driving him nuts because you think about it. He had that 13th place finish and minimal points at the opener at Barber, and then strung together some amazing runs, 4 wins and the like, gets himself into the points lead. And now it's sort of rinse and repeat, and that's got to be frustrating. Yeah. Real quickly, I want to mention, just got word that in the paddock shop, one David Obbs is signing autographed copies of his book there, and he'll be there until 3 p.m. So
very nice.
If you haven't read the book, it's amazing. And 2, just the opportunity to spend even 15 seconds with David Hobbs is a treasure. So head on over there.
100%. Yeah, head over there to the gift shop, folks. And again, looking to try to hopefully get back to green here as soon as we possibly can. But with the 4-car incident, takes quite a bit of time to be able to get everything cleaned up here. Devlin DeFrancesco joining us here. Of course, he'll be on track in his Andretti Steinbrenner Autosport machine. Indy Lights getting ready to roll at about 3:05 this afternoon. And the beauty of Indy Lights, we talk a lot about the road to Indy and how it develops drivers to get themselves up into the NTT IndyCar Series. But if you're in Indy Lights, you're literally on the cusp. You're right there. You spend a lot more time with the team owners and managers of IndyCar because they're, of course, watching. I enjoyed watching qualifying. As I was coming up and down because IndyCar was right afterwards. Well, all the IndyCar team owners were on their boxes watching the Indy Lights qualifying session, so for sure that they're keeping an eye on you. Listen, you're in the Andretti pipeline. Obviously, IndyCar is your focus. Are we going to see you testing an IndyCar pretty soon for Andretti?
I leave that to my management to deal with. George Steinbrenner, very, very much involved on that side of things with Anton as well. So I leave that to them, and my job is to execute.
Are you getting anxious, though? Because normally, by the end of the season, if you're an Indy Lights driver, you're going to at least get to drive an IndyCar at least once. I'd be pretty jacked if I were you.
For sure, there's an element of excitement there, of course, but it's all eyes onto the job right now. That's and executing 2 good races here in Road America.
What are your thoughts? Where you are in points right now? Is there a plan to come back for one more year of Indy Lights potentially next year? Are you trying to go to IndyCar next year?
Right now, my eyes are on stringing good results together and seeing where the chips land.
Keeping right in front of you, right? Good call. Devlin DeFrancesco joining us here again. Once we get going racing here, again, we'll get some input on him on what he's seeing on the racetrack with drivers who are working their way around. 8 drivers remaining here after a 4-car incident at the start here that took out, namely, the point leader, Christian Rasmussen. 13-point lead coming in. This is really going to be big, Greg, for Manuel Suleiman. Manuel significantly down the order. Quick look at the points right now. Manuel in 6th position in points, and he was 90 points back. There's 60 points on offer on the weekend. We already know that Rasmussen's going to be well down.
Absolutely. I mean, this is big. And Manuel hasn't had a win yet.
No.
And this is his first pole. He backed it up with Q2 qualifying, got another pole. But an opportunity for him, as you said, with a win, with Rasmussen's struggles, with Eves back a bit to make up some ground. By the way, got to report that incident 3. Don't know which cars it was, but somebody around the outside of 3 got sideways in front of the rest, and then boom, and that's what may have caused it. So that's the scenario.
For Manuel.
By the way, real quick,
yes.
were you as relentless when you were racing as you are in trying to get an answer out of Devlin? Because that was impressive.
I appreciate that.
And
I
great
appreciate
deflection, my friend. That was world class.
Devlin's doing a good job
trained
right now.
well.
I'm throwing everything I got at him here right now, and he's keeping the cards close to the vest for sure. For Suleiman, what I find interesting, a couple of pole positions, they're really good here right now. If he's able to win here, the thing is, last year he was able to win at Mid-Ohio. We go to Mid-Ohio twice this year. So that really kind of brings him back into the discussion when you're talking championships, especially if he can get out of here with a sweep of the weekend. That'd be crucial.
From memory, last year, Solomon was very, very strong in Mid-Ohio. Good to see him up there. But as well, even if you look at Christian Rasmussen, you know, he fell back in points at certain points last year.
Yeah,
And
you're
he
right.
had a string of,
That's it.
I forget how many wins it was. So.
Yeah, I think he won 7 races or something at the start of the season, then had some issues at Indianapolis, then drove off on the opening lap at Mid-Ohio. But yeah, I think it was down to 3 points at one point, but then he turned it back around. The mental toughness of him for sure. He will not cave at all. And I know the Jay Howard driver development team very quick. We'll see Christian back here tomorrow. Looks to me like we're going to go racing.
Yes, it
I
does.
think we are. All 8 drivers lining up again with Manuel Suleiman, the Mexican driver for Juncos Racing, who led him up very slowly. I think he's going to try to do exactly the same thing coming up the hill here. Indeed, not punching off coming out of 14, because you do that and it's a big draft all the way down, especially with there's a bit of a wind right now. At least I know that we started the day, the wind was in the face of these drivers coming up into turn 1, which only increases the effect of the draft. And we're at it, folks. Green flag is flowing, and we are racing. Back at it here.
That was a savvy move by Suleiman. Right when the green went, he punched and it went immediately right and just tried to get that wall of air to hit Petrov. But Petrov not buying it again, goes to the outside.
Hold your breath through turn number 1. Petrov trying the outside. They'll come back down the hill. Petrov slotting back into position right now. Here's a move a little further back, potentially. I think that was Reese Gold looking to the inside of Jacob Abel, but thinks better of it and tucks back in. Here's, again, a big run down the straightaway. At least one driver dropping a wheel back there. As you can see the dust coming out of the outside of turn number 3. Lots of racing deep in the field here as well, as Braden Eves trying to get himself back forward. Let's have a look at the run down into turn number 5. Big move down the bottom. James Rowe to the inside. He'll go side by side with Reese Gold. Not quite able to get it to go, as Gold able to hold the outside of that corner. Back up here to turn number 6, top of the hill. Blind entry into turn 6, back down through turn number 7. Indy Pro, Devlin, we flat out through there in Indy Pro?
Through turn 7, yes. Turn 7 is definitely wide open in
High on
Indy
the
Pro.
pucker factor? Or is it
Not as much as I would have as I was expecting actually
Okay.
last year.
All right. For me, it's tough, man. That is a tough corner. It feels like it's tighter than it is, but you just got to get up on the rumbles on the exit. First time back at speed through the carousel. And it's a good run here for Manuel Suleiman, able to capitalize on that pole. And Greg, look at this opening lap. He's got about 6 or 7 car length already on Artem Petrov.
Boy, that's what he needed to do. Just get clear enough that instead of Artem getting good draftable air, he's getting a little bit more wash. And that's going to be really, really huge. Nice restart by Suleiman and making it work really well.
Looks to me like Braden Eves as well, up behind James Rowe. So Eves has got himself up a couple spots. He's P5 right now, I think, behind with Rowe. James Rowe in the Turn 3 Motorsports TopCon Trintec machine. P5, that number 3 machine, getting some pressure here from the back. But he's doing the same thing. He's trying to catch up on Reese Gold here. Look at that. Going to be a big draft here as well for James Rowe, as he'll try to see if he can't come by. Huge draft coming up the hill on Reese. You can see Reese kind of weaving back and forth a little bit, trying to break that draft. Let's see if Rowe makes a move coming down into turn number 1, side by side. Further back, Hunter Yaney and Hunter McElray as well. Rowe not able to get the job done. McElray able to get by Yaney as well. So move Hunter McElray to 7th position. Braden Eves now 6th. Lead probably about a half a second, a little more than a half second down to turn number 3.
Well, you know that the crews, and Braden's well aware, Reese is well aware, that Rasmussen's off, and so it's like, man, anything you can make up here is going to be gold in terms of trying to close this championship down.
That's very true. Of course, the engineers and the strategists on the radio with their drivers, letting them know what's going on, and this will be an opportunity for both Braden Eves and everybody else behind Artem Petrov, Reese Gold, all with an opportunity to close up those points a bit. It's going to be tighter when we go to Sunday's racing tomorrow morning.
It's a question for Devlin is, during a race when you're in the throes and, you're in a points battle and one of your competitors, how much is your strategist talking to you, giving you that kind of feedback about, hey, if you can do something here?
Definitely important. I have my engineer on the radio giving me gaps of the cars in front, and you have a little bit of a predetermined idea on who your fights are with and where you are in points at that point. But I think there's so much racing to go that it's just about executing good, solid finishes week in, week out, and the points will add up. As they say, points mean prizes.
Absolutely. Do you like getting a lot of feedback and info from your engineer, or do you just want to turn that off and just focus?
I was going to say, are you a talker as well,
Yeah.
right?
I am quite a talker, and I do tend to like a lot of info, just gaps and things like
Yeah.
that are important. So, yeah, those I know each driver is different, but that's how I do things.
Braden Eves has been able to get by James Rose, so move
Yes.
Eves up a spot. He'll go to P5. Jacob Abel, a lot of pressure from behind from Reese Gold as well. Jacob Abel tried to get that first podium finish, and I think that would be fantastic for his confidence, but
Yes.
getting pressured big time by Reese Gold here now.
I think Jacob Abel's really stepped up his game this year. I
Yeah.
think he's, I've seen a big improvement from him. He's constantly always been in the top 4, top 5 from what I've seen. And Braden Eves as well, extremely consistent so far this year. I think he's had 4 or 5 podiums already so far. So I couldn't really tell you who might want to be on the win this championship. Honestly, I think it's
I
going
don't
to be
know.
a close battle.
I'm with you. I think it's so up in the air, especially when we go to Mid-Ohio. Artem Petrov's been good there. Braden Eves is really good at Mid-Ohio, but Christian Rasmussen isn't that bad there either. We'll see what happens on the oval as well when we get to Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. There's a question for you as these guys continue racing. No Freedom 100 this year, which sucks. I know you can see the grimace in your face, not able to run to Indianapolis, but you get to go to Gateway. What do you had a good run at Gateway. That was fun watching you at Gateway last year, Worldwide Technology. You looking forward to that?
Extremely. That's
Good.
another racetrack I'm excited to go to after having good success there last year. I think the Andretti cars will be very strong there, especially the Andretti Steinbrenner car.
It's not something that you did at all when you were racing in Europe, but you come over here and jump into an Indy Pro 2000. I was very impressed. You picked it up pretty quickly.
I've always had strength in high speed corners.
Yes, you mentioned that to
That's
me
always
before.
been one of my strengths. So I knew I was pretty sure I would take to ovals quite quickly. So yeah, it's definitely something I've really enjoyed doing.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Indy Lights at Worldwide Technology Raceway will be a lot of fun. That's in late August. I just got news actually from our Director of Communications, Tammy Valkoski. All the drivers checked and released from the Infield Care Center as well. So that's obviously
Best
great
news.
news. Yeah.
Yep.
Manuel Suleiman continues to lead here, folks. 6 laps down.
Oh, sorry, the two teammates down in Canada at the back, Yanni and McElroy, side by side through that corner. How they didn't touch, I'm not sure how they avoided that, but it was sweet.
Wow.
Also wanted to say extremely happy for Manuel. I think this will be a big confidence booster for him. He's driven a great race so far. He's timed the start and the restart
Great.
perfectly.
Yep.
I think he has this race quite well in hand.
For Greg and I, the announcers, we just like the fact that there's somebody new that's going to win, right? It's always like to have new winners, kind of mixing up the championship battle, bringing Manuel back into it. Like I said, 90 points back of Christian Rasmussen coming in. And if he's able to get, he's already got the bonus point for pole, potential to get the bonus point for most laps led. That's going to put him potentially 32 points. Where are we on fast lap so far? He's got the fast lap of the race right now so far as well. So could be a 33-point haul for him, which will close him up in the championship.
And I said that Yanni and McElroy were teammates. They're not. They're duking it out back
That's
there.
it.
But
Yeah.
velocity developments, obviously,
Yeah.
for Yanni.
For Yanni is Velocity Racing Development, Dan Mitchell's team. They have one car in USF 2000, one car in Indy Pro, and we look forward to seeing them expand their team. Got a really good program that supports a lot of young karters as well. So they got a kind of development program in karting, VRD does. So they'll be bringing a bunch of drivers in. We're going to see some new guys coming in and racing with them here in USF 2000 as well.
Well, that speaks to what we were saying before, but this doesn't just train drivers.
Yeah.
It trains teams.
That's
it
it.
trains team personnel to work their way up and eventually hopefully get up into the NTT IndyCar Series.
And we see a lot of that with teams that have a USF 2000 and an Indy Pro team where they've got a young guy that'll come in or girl that's working for them, and then they'll end up going up to the Indy Pro car. And we talked about having young ladies in the paddock as well. I think one of your mechanics is a young lady as well, right?
Yes, her name is Madison, and
Yeah.
she's honestly been unbelievable this year.
That's awesome.
Very quick with changes in the pits. With car prep has been amazing.
I love
So yeah, it's great to see diversity in the Road to Indy paddock and in the NTT IndyCar Series.
100%. And of course, you've got the team itself, Andretti Autosport, and with Andretti Steinbrenner, also had last year got the mechanic of the year, Jessica Mace.
Jessica
your
Mason,
mechanic
my
from last year.
mechanic last year.
IndyCar mechanic of the year for Indy Pro 2000. She's
Braden-
of course
Oh, I'm
running.
sorry.
Yeah, I'm just gonna wrap it up. She's back up with the Indy Lights team this year.
That's fabulous. You love to see it. Braden Eves is really starting attack on Abel right now. Abel getting, though, a beautiful run through 14 and was immediately able to gap him by a couple of car lengths. But heading into Canada and up through Billy Mitchell, Braden was right there.
This will be interesting because these guys are really good friends as well. When they go karting, sometimes they'll help each other. You know, Jacob will wrench for Braden when they do karting and some of the top events. So this will be a good battle between the two of these drivers here. Of course, remember. Braden Eves, 2019 USF 2000 champion, and really one of the feel-good stories this year after the incident that happened last year at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where he was upside down, pretty significant injuries, able to get back behind the wheel of a kart in the off season and started testing again. So just great to see Braden back out here and rolling against one of the top young American drivers here in the Road Dandy. Ooh, I think we got ourselves a battle for the lead, folks, because Artem Petrov has closed back up on Manuel Suleiman. Here they come over the crest of turn 6, and there you go. Not even a car length between first and second.
And that is, almost overshooting the exit. So you can tell right now that Suleiman's feeling the pressure. Drop that right rear at the exit of 6. Gathered it up, but that's just going to, I would think, light the fuse for Petrov. He's going, all right, he knows I'm here. He's feeling the heat.
Artem is very stoic, very focused. A number of wins last year. He's a guy that when he gets that bit between his teeth, he'll go at it. You got a chance to race against him last year. He's a pretty tough competitor.
Yeah, definitely. Very hard but fair, I'd say, on track. He's also one to get his elbows out. So, but I think as long as Manuel executes good runs out of the carousel and out of 14 and out of 3, I think he'll have this race in hand.
And that's really the key, isn't it? Those 3 corners. You have to be able to roll corner speed through those particular turns to get that good run down the straightaway.
Yeah, you definitely need to get out the other side for sure. Maybe the Cooper tires are starting to go off a little bit, but they have quite good durability, so I wouldn't think so.
It seems to be a little bit of a talking point this weekend that this track is a little harder on our tires. I think in talking to some of the engineers, we've never really raced here when it's been as warm as it has in the mid 80s. You know, it's normally been here in June, mid 70s. We've had some hot days here.
Yeah, as I said, this is the hottest I think we've ever run here in Road America. So actually qualifying this morning was a bit more normal temps that we've run here in Road America. So I think the race degradation is definitely going to be a factor for the Indy Lights Series.
Interesting. We talked about it in the IndyCar radio broadcast that Cooper Tires does bring a different tire compound and tire construction to this particular racetrack. All the high loads, the high temperature we get on these tires, a little bit different. And in talking to Gavin Rose, the Cooper Tire engineer, he did tell me that, and you mentioned warming the tires up, it takes a bit longer and maybe a little bit, I don't know, much of a different approach, but it does take longer to bring these tires up to temp at Indy Lights.
Than Indy Pro, yes, for sure. I think the tires definitely is harder to maybe withstand the lateral loads that the lights cars have.
Watching this battle up front, Greg.
I was just going to ask Devlin here. You know, you talk about how you really like the long duration, really fast flowing corners. Turn 6 to me, there's so many great corners here, but I don't know that any's trickier than turn 6. Real quick, what are your impressions of that corner?
Blind entry, of course, and the rear seems to get light over the crest, so that's definitely a hard corner to get right. As we saw, Suleiman lost the rear a little bit on power down out of 6, so definitely a hard corner to get right and to execute lap after lap.
You got to time your braking to perfection when the car crests like that, don't you?
Yes, you need to anticipate the turn in as well.
Well, Greg and I are talking all about this battle and how Artem Petrov was able to close up. Devlin, in his expert opinion, says that Suleiman's going to be able to pull away, and that's exactly what's happening. I like the fact that Devlin seems to be on it here right now, Greg.
Well, and he was spot on because on that lap, Petrov turned a lap that was 0.3 quicker than Suleiman. The next lap, Suleiman went a 10th faster, and the next lap again a 10th faster, and gapped that back out just a little bit. And Braden Eves' attack on Abel apparently lit the fuse for Jacob Abel because he's suddenly all over the back of Reese Gold again.
And he just set the fast lap of the race. Jacob Abel did as well. Was able to get down to a 2:05.650. Next fastest lap, Reese Gold 2:05.9, 0.3 faster. So look at this. Jacob Abel's going to get the toe down the straightaway. He may be trying to see if he can't get himself back on the podium here. That's what he's looking for. Abel with a big run. Jacob working very closely with Parker Thompson as his driver coach this year as well, and really good connection between those two guys. Parker drove alongside Jacob in Indy Pro 2000 a couple years ago when they first came into the series, and I like this battle potentially for the final position on the podium. Braden Eves looks like he's got things handled here right now. P5. James Rowe and Hunter McElroy, though, still got a battle going there. That's for 6th and 7th. Hunter Yaney in 8th. And again, as we said, if you're joining us late with 5 laps remaining now, an incident on the opening circuit coming out of turn number 3. One of the drivers got sideways, collecting 3 others. Jack William Miller, Christian Rasmussen, Kiffin Simpson, and Wyatt Prokacek all involved in that incident.
Big lockup there by
Hunter Yaney.
Hunter Yaney gathered it up. But while we were talking, Petrov has driven an absolutely stunning first third of this lap, and he is all over the back of Suleiman again as they got down into turn 5. Now you can see Suleiman's put another car length between the two of them.
You look back there as well, though. Reese Gold and Jacob Abel are closing up. All told, the top 4 drivers last time by separated by just over 2 seconds. This is going to be an interesting battle for sure when it's all said and done. 5 laps remaining, as I said. 10 laps down. It'll be 4 to go when they come back around.
And Devlin, when you're running in a series like this, where all the cars are identical and it's just down to minor setup changes during the race, you don't have more power than the guy, you don't have better stick, you don't have any of that. What do you do as a driver? Where can you find something to be able to run down somebody who's running in identical equipment?
I think it's about getting the car balance right with your engineer on maybe what you're looking for, and to be able to execute good runs out of 14, out of 3, and out of the carousel.
And I would assume to have good tires at the end of the race is
of course,
huge,
I think
of
as
course. Yeah.
degradation, I think is a little bit of a factor. It looks like Suleiman is really just focusing on his exits out of 14, out of 3, and out of the carousel, because in the twisty section, Petrov seems to close back up.
A little bit, yeah, exactly that. But he's still holding on that lead that he needs right now. The gap as they come across the line. Last time was 0.6 of a second. Actually pushed it out to about 0.64 now, so a little bit more than a half a second. The lead for Manuel Suleiman over Artem Petrov. We talked a little bit about tire degradation too. We'll see what happens over these last couple laps.
Well, Petrov seems to be really good from start-finish around to the exit of 5, maybe up through 6. But from there around, Suleiman really seems to have the flow down through that section of track, and it's paying dividends, as you said, with that having a gap and a good run out of 14.
Well, let's say this one thing. Juncos Racing pretty good here at Road America. Artem was actually with Juncos last year when he won here at Road America, so they have a pretty solid setup. Ricardo Juncos and the crew here for Indy Pro 2000, currently running in 1st and 3rd. As we said, their other driver, Kiffin Simpson, out on the opening lap, but a couple of podium positions right now for the Juncos drivers as Jacob Abel continuing to pressure from P4 as laps winding down in the first of 2 Indy Pro 2000 races here this weekend.
McElroy just took a huge look at James Rowe down into turn 5. Couldn't make that work, but look at him here again. Into braking, into 5 and into 8. McElroy is really effective and closes it up. Tried to go around the outside at 5. Couldn't quite get it done here. But that is a good scrap as well. And for Abel, right now, he's on track, I think, Rob, to get his best finish of the year. He previously was 5th, but, boy, it'd be nice to make that move and make it a podium, wouldn't it?
Still has fast lap of the race as well. That's a bonus point for Jacob Abel. We'll see if that lasts. Again, always balancing the lower fuel load with the tire degradation to see when you're going to get that fast lap. That's a great. Let's go into that question, Devlin. As you go through a race, your race is 20 laps long. As you start to lose fuel, can you feel a difference in the car? Does it handle different as the car's getting lighter?
I think at most tracks it does cancel itself out with the fuel load going down with the tire deg.
Yeah.
But it seems to be here. Maybe it's the hot temperatures that really seem to make the rear tires fall off. Looks like Jacob Abel has a
Here comes this
big
battle.
run.
Jacob Abel looking to the inside, coming down into turn number 1. Abel side by side with Reese Gold all the way down the straightaway. Who's going to give it up? Abel to the inside. Book it. Jacob Abel goes to P3.
Oh, and did he sell Reese Gold a dummy there? They were coming down. He was tucked behind. He swung to the outside. Gold faded just a little bit. Bang, went to the inside, sliced underneath into 1. That was gorgeous.
Let's see if Jacob Abel can hold that spot. A podium would be huge. We saw a fantastic rookie podium for Spike Kohlbecker in USF 2000.
I don't think Gold is done. I think he had a great run through 3. He might return the favor down into 5. He's gone to the outside. He's already got the nose ahead. Abel deep on it, Rob.
Hold your breath when we see the other camera angle, if there's contact or not. Coming back up the hill, we got some dust on the outside. Abel still to the bottom of the racetrack, and he'll take it back in turn number 6. Tremendous back and forth battle for P3. Jacob Abel versus Reese Gold. And Abel with a good run out of 6 gets himself some room in 7.
Yeah, that was pretty. And for Reese Gold, obviously, young guy, 16 years old, he just learned, all right, don't bite down that front straight. And 2, immediately attacked again. He is impressive.
falling back a little bit here right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if he locked it up. That might have been brake lockup. I'm not quite sure. You can see that it looks like Braden Eves closing up a little bit here as well. But Jacob Abel working his way into third position. I talked about Spike Kolbecker, the rookie, getting his first podium finish as well in USF 2000. It would be cool to see a podium here for Jacob Abel. Oh, how about the battle for the lead coming down Kettle Bottoms? Petrov, we talked about faster at one half. He throws it down to the bottom. He's on the outside. That's Petrov on the outside, not quite able to get the job done. But this is starting to get spicy right now.
Look at this now. Braden down, trying to get to the inside of Gold through Billy Mitchell. That's a tough corner to make that work. And at that point, Gold was able to defend.
We'll let Devlin, we'll let you take off. We know you got to get prepped up for a couple of things. Thank you so much for joining us, buddy.
Thank you for having me on, Rob.
Yeah, pleasure, man.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Good luck this afternoon.
Devlin DiFrancesco for Andretti Steinbrenner Autosport joining us as a driver analyst here today. Got to get out of here. Some more prior commitments to him. And again, remember, he's going racing this afternoon as well. I think a driver's meeting actually coming up for the drivers in Indy Lights.
You don't want to miss those.
No, exactly that. We've got some racing here
Yes,
going on
we
right
do.
now. Because first and foremost, we got a battle for the race lead. Manuel Suleiman has been pressured by Artem Petrov. With that racing right now, Jacob Abel's actually closing up. Then you got the fight for fourth position as Braden Eves fighting it out with Reese Gold. Couple laps remaining, Greg. This thing's starting to percolate.
It is, and McElroy is still hounding Rowe, so we've really got three great battles out there at different spots of the track, and that just makes this so good. There's Suleiman down into 5. Look at Petrov close up.
Deep break there. Really into the zone, braking zone there for Artem Petrov, doing everything he can to try to see if he can't find a way by. Jacob Abel turning up the wick as well. If they start battling, Abel might be. Look how much closer Jacob Abel is right now in the Abel Motorsports 51.
And the concern for Petrov, you get in that late, we saw that little bit of brake smoke, and I'm guessing it was his. You start to torture those tires, that's going to hurt their efficacy a little bit. You need to be a little bit careful with that.
And we know once you flat spot the tires, so easy to do it again and again and again. The more you do it, the more you have that flat spot that grabs every time you're really trying to get that big brake spike to get the car wound up in turn number 5. Through the kink, there's the gap between first and second. Abel closing. Not done yet for P4, though, as Reese Gold's got work to do. He's got to try to defend, and he's swerving all over the place right now. Reese Gold, left, right, left. I guarantee you Braden Eves on the radio there. Another brake lockup. Here's Eves to the inside,
here.
side by side. It's an outside move. Braden Eves, book it. He goes to P4. What a pass.
That was beautiful. And, all that defensiveness that Reese Gold was throwing at, it just opened that outside lineup, and Eves good enough to just park it around the outside.
So Braden Eves up to the 4th position. Move Reese Gold back into 5th. Final lap this time by. A white flag being shown here at start-finish. And you can see Gold trying to stay in that draft. Pretty good lead here for Manuel Suleiman at the line, coming across to put lap number 14 in the books. It's a half a second advantage. Does Petrov have anything more, or is he going to get challenged by Jacob Abel?
I was going to say Abel is there, and Gold taking another big look at Eves as they headed into 1. But, boy, what a beautiful round-off move that Eves put on. But Gold not done yet. He's there.
Hunter McElroy, Hunter McElroy trying to get by James Rowe as well. That will be the battle for 6th position. Look at this. What a huge run here for Jacob Abel. And there's as well Reese Gold right on Braden Eves. You know Eves is going to stay on the inside of the racetrack coming into 5. Look at Abel thinking about trying to find a way by Jacob Abel. And it's Eves down the bottom. Reese Gold will try the over-under coming back up the hill, no doubt about that. Thinks about it, not quite able to get that done. Abel putting the pressure here on the final circuit. Eves, having got by over on the outside of Canada corner, now his hands full trying to hold off Reese Gold.
And Suleiman looking in his mirror, seeing Abel absolutely attacking on Petrov, and the grin's getting wider because that's slowing those two guys down.
I love the fact that we've got 3 different teams in the top 3 as well on the podium positions right now. Juncos, Exclusive, and Abel Motorsports, 1, 2, 3.
Nice parody, yeah.
I love it. And this has been the best we've seen. Career run here for Jacob Abel, no doubt about it. He's shown speed throughout the season, but really maximizing here and trying to execute to get himself onto the podium. Final run down through the Kettle Bottoms. Artem Petrov not quite close enough. This is going to bring him right back into the championship fight with Rasmussen out of the race as well. Through Canada corner, no challenge there. All it would be is a potential run through 14 and getting that draft up the hill. But I think Manuel Suleiman looks pretty good here, Greg.
I do too. He's just been great through and out of 14. Petrov, couple of car lengths. He's got to get a better run than that. Now, Reese might have a shot at a draft up this hill if he really gets his exit right down there. But here comes your winner.
Indeed, tremendous run from Mexico City, the victor in the opening round of Indy Pro 2000. Manuel Suleiman for Juncos Racing taking the win. Artem Petrov second. Jacob Abel on the podium for the first time in his road to Indy career. A tremendous run, fast lap of the race as well, a 2:05.650 for Jacob Abel. Braden Eves moving his way forward, started ninth, avoided the wreck up at the start of the race, and then able to get up to fourth. Really solid for Braden Eves. He may take the point lead actually here, Braden. We'll have to see how things shake down. Reese Gold ends up in the 5th spot. James Rowe in 6th. 7th, Hunter McElray. 8th, Hunter Yaney. And as we said before, Jack William Miller, Christian Rasmussen, Kiffin Simpson, and Wyatt Prokachik all out on the opening lap. That incident in turn number 3.
And, yeah, thinking about that, and Braden Eves starting in 9th, yeah, obviously the cars, there were some cars that promoted him up the order, but those 2 passes later in this race to get him up into that 4th spot and earn those additional points, that could be pivotal.
Great to have Devlin DeFrancesco joining us here on the broadcast. Got some great insight there. We tried to pry into whether he's going IndyCar racing or not. He wasn't going to give up anything. Again, here are your unofficial results. Eric, I'll pass it over to you. I'll head down to Victory Lane. I'll let you guys run through the order one more time.
All right, absolutely. Manuel Suleiman, your winner. Artem Petrov, Jacob Abel coming home on the final step of the podium. Braden Eves in 4th. What a great pass to the outside, doing it the long way around, Greg.
Oh, man, rounded him up. Just absolutely beautiful. And for Abel, qualified 3rd, faded a little bit, and then came storming back late in the race. Talk about building confidence and showing what he's capable of.
Yeah, it was a very tough race. We managed the gap well. Pressure by Artem was tough. Good defending, and then we end up with a win. I think I want to thank the team because they put me a great car, and we want to keep this momentum and repeat this tomorrow.